OFPG Voices is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Board&Dice designs and publishes family and strategy board games. Two of their most recent releases are Tlacuaches and Terracotta Army. They have recently launched their ally program to lend support to underrepresented voices in the hobby. World Series of Board Gaming in Las Vegas, September 24th to the 28th. It has 16 different games to compete in, an open gaming library, and a grand prize of $25,000. So there's something for you if you're a casual gamer or a competitive one. For tickets, check out WSBGVegas.com. Use referral code OFPG23 for a $40 discount off the Stay and Play or Quadruple Ring event packages. Hi everybody, I'm Starla.
I'm Mick.
And we are
Our Fan Plays Games. Voices, yeah.
And welcome back to another week.
Yes. And happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month.
Yeah.
Yes, this week we've got some great contributors as always.
Yes, we do.
Yes, they're going to be telling us about some great games.
Oh, yes, especially one that we know very, very well.
Yes.
Yes.
So we're going to kick this episode off with a how to play from Aaron from GameEnthus. He's going to teach us about Starry Night Sky from Emma Larkin.
Yes. Yes.
And then right after that, we're going to hear a little bit from Dr. Tanya Pobuda with School by Group.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she's going to focus a little bit on National Safety Month.
Yes.
And she wanted to discuss safety in games. You know, and she's talking about people with disabilities, and she's actually going to give you something that's really personal to her. So I hope you guys will pay attention and really listen to what she has to say about this particular issue.
Yes, and she's looking at, safety in those gaming spaces.
Yeah. And then last but not least, we have Daniel from Tlacuaches in La Mesa.
Yes.
And in this episode, he is discussing a game we've never played called Etherfields.
Ooh.
And it's a narrative-driven cooperative game.
Yes.
That's all about dreams and the dream world.
Okay. Let's see what he got to say about that. But family, before we start anything, we definitely have to hear from Starla and her Good Human segment. Here we go.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another segment of Good Humans. This week, I want to touch on what it takes to be a good human. Now, goodness is the quality of being kind, helpful, and honest. So, in other words, a person who exhibits those qualities is a good human, right? Well, on the surface, that may be true. But unfortunately, to many, those words are subjective. Many humans believe they are good, but they put limitations on their goodness, their helpfulness, and even their honesty, which can be swayed if the subject matter goes against some deep-seated belief or some historical family value, or even against their friends. Now, you know what they say, I'm a good person, but not those people, not to those people. I'll help anyone. But some people need to learn to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. And then some people even say, I always tell the truth. But if it goes against my friends or my political beliefs or, I don't know, I just may want to stay out of it. I'm just not going to say anything. So becoming a good human means standing up for what you know is right, not some of the time, but all of the time. Becoming a good human means helping others regardless of if they are from a different race or a different religion or sexual orientation or culture. Becoming a good human means extending kindness, empathy, and understanding to all humans regardless. I know it's not easy to be a good human, but if we all put forth our best effort every day, I believe good humans will one day outnumber those who believe otherwise. And as we always say here at OFPG Voices, our goal is to make this world a better place, one board gamer at a time.
Hey, it's Aaron from GameEnthus.com. While trying to figure out what game to teach for this episode, I had all these ideas of games I wanted to teach, and I was saying, no, not that one, no, not that one. And then I decided to look around. Ironically, I looked down. And then I had an epiphany, and I knew what game I wanted to teach. And that game is Starry Night Sky. Starry Night Sky is a point-to-point movement, contracts, in-game bonus networking game. It was also designed by Emma Larkins of Abandon Our Artichokes fame, and is published by Buffalo Games and Puzzles. The game art was done by Nim Ben Reuven. Starry Night Sky has a sort of Ticket to Ride-ish, in space, looking at space kind of thing going on. Shout out to Roland Reggie. Plays 2 to 4 players. It's for ages 10 and up. And plays in about 30 to 45 minutes. Let's open this box and get to the teaching. Okay, I have a 2-player setup here for Starry Night Sky. Let me just quickly go over what the pieces and parts are. This is clearly the board for Starry Night Sky. Scoring tracker here at the bottom. Each player will get a telescope in their respective colors. The game is playable up to 4 players, so there are 2 other telescopes, as well as 2 other player boards. You have your scoring markers over here, and on the flip side, there's a plus 40. At the top of the board, you're going to have discovery markers, and how those work is every time you get to a constellation that no one else has reached before, you would take a discovery marker and place it onto that constellation where your telescope ends up. It's also a timer for the game. For a 2-player game, you would end here. 3 players in here. 4 players, you would end here. After all the discovery markers are gone here, for everybody's last turn, they will be using these. So in between these two, these are worth 1 point discovering. In between these 2 lines, these are worth 2 points. For a 3 and 4 player game, any discovery markers taken here are worth 3, but this is a 2-player setup, so there's none here. And then all 4 of these for everybody's last turn. And everybody's last turn, be it a 2-player game, 3 or 4, these will all be worth 3 points. So you would just move up on the point tracker there. Each player would get their own player board, and each player board has 3 star pools. And each star pool can take a total of 4 stars. You're also gonna have a pile of myth cards. At the beginning of the game, each player will get 3 myth cards, and these are essentially hidden objectives that every player is trying to reach. What this essentially is showing you is that if you have this myth card, you are trying to make sure that the reliable sailboat and the luminous bonfire are both completely discovered throughout the game. Should you accomplish that, you get 3 points. And each player will get 3 of them. And they are secret objectives. At the beginning of every player's turn, they will be drawing an exploration goal. So this one says end turn with 2 stars in each star pool. And you get 2 points if you did that. So you just check to see if you've fulfilled them. Players can have a maximum of 3 of these. So if you have 3, you just can't draw one at the beginning of your turn. And last but certainly not least, the stars in Starry Night Sky. The stars are red, yellow, and blue. There are 150 stars total, 50 of each color. So the starting player is going to be the green player over here. So I'll put the starting player token over there. In addition, I'm going to give each player 3 myth cards, which are 3 hidden objectives. And the reason why you are seeing them face up is because I'm showing this for demonstrative purposes. And there we have it. Okay, the green player is going to start. They have the starting player token here. You start off by taking exploration goal. And this one says, end turn with a star pool with 1 star, a star pool with 2 stars, and a star pool with 3 stars. Like I said, you can have a maximum of up to 3 of these. And now next thing is I draw 3 stars. Only able to place 1 star at a time in each star pool. So I put 1 there. Oh, look at that, it's 2 blue. Okay. And for the third, wow. Did I mix those up? There's a little bit of specificity with how you draw the stars during the gather phase. If none of your star pools are full, which I just started the game, so none of them could have been full, I would get 3 stars. If one of my star pools is full, meaning one of them has 4 stars in it already, I would draw 2 stars. And if 2 of my star pools are full, I can only draw 1 star. Keep in mind, you can only have up to 4 stars in each pool. The reliable sailboat, which happens to be right next to the start space, is on one of my myth cards. So it behooves me to probably go visit there. So starting the exploration phase of the turn, I'm going to explore and head out to the reliable sailboat. And because this constellation has not been discovered before, I want to take a discovery marker and place it onto the constellation. And because it is within this range here, I will get a single point for doing so. Once you're on a constellation, you can begin to fill that constellation in with the stars and the star color that it requires. I happen to have all blue stars. I can only really complete one star on this constellation. So I'll just take this one on the far left, and I'm just going to cover up the blue star that the reliable sailboat requires. And by doing so, I get a point. So you get 1 point for every star you put onto a constellation. Keep in mind, you can only put stars from a single pool. You can't mix and match in order to complete a star, a constellation from one pool. So if I had other stars in this pool, I could have added more stars to this constellation and thus got more points. But it's the first turn of the game, so you are able to take one of your exploration goals and you can discard it in order to gain a star of your choice. So let's say I discarded that one. Let's say I wanted a red. So I could go in there, I can go in the bag and pick out a red and put it in whatever pool I want. So if there are exploration goals that you know you're not going to accomplish or you're far away from doing it, it might be worth it. So I fast forwarded the layout just to give you an idea of what the final step of the exploration portion of your turn could look like, and that is the check for bonus exploration. So let's say I ended the previous turn on the luminous bonfire. I'm the green player here, that you're able to bypass things that have already been completed. I can come all the way over to the musing teacher. I can skip right through Whispering Willow because it's already been completed, which is evident in the fact that this token is the pink side up. So I could just jump all the way over here. And now that I'm here, it's already been discovered, so I don't get anything for that. But I can add something from one of my pools. So let's say I need a yellow there. So I'm adding this from this pool. So now the musing teacher is complete. This constellation has been completely discovered. I'd flip this over. And because it was partially completed, now I'm going to do the bonus exploration. I completed something that was partially done, so I get to explore again. Which means I could jump over here to the Humble Radish, which is this constellation right here. And I could also finish this off. So I could go back to the same pool or go from a different one because I'm exploring something different. So let's say I take this blue star and add it there, which would complete that. Also, would have scored a single point for having added a star to this one and another point for adding a star to that one as well. So on the point tracker, it should be reflected there. So that is how checking for bonus exploration would work. Like I mentioned before, this tracker up here essentially is the timer for the game. So in a 2-player game, once this discovery marker has been taken, everybody would finish out that round, and then everybody would do one round, and then all the discovery markers for anything that's discovered in that final turn for every player would result in 3 points. And that is how Starry Night Sky plays. A couple of months ago, I think the game had somewhat of a limited release, but it should be available in a lot more places now for people to pick up. And hopefully you'll find this teaching segment useful. Thank you for watching. Take care, stay safe, and be blessed.
This is the June episode of Schooled by Gru, and it's National Safety Month. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking about safety in gaming spaces. Like 1 in 4 Americans, or roughly 27% of the entire population, or 1 in 5 Canadians, I live with disability. And that means that I have to take extra precautions about how I navigate the world, particularly now in the COVID pandemic. It changes everything about the way I live. I can't always access crowded indoor spaces, particularly those that don't take air cleaning or masking seriously, and it really limits what I can do out there in the world. More than 267,000 people died in the US of COVID last year. This is only marginally different than the 350,000 that died the preceding year. The challenge we have is the pandemic is still ongoing. Hundreds of people die of COVID every day, and it continues to be a leading cause of death in both Canada and the US. Disability advocates have shared that this is the loneliest year of the pandemic yet, 2023. For a lot of folks with disability, like me, This has felt very, very isolating and alienating, and I want to speak from the heart here. It is very, very difficult as a person with a disability, with comorbidities that make my life much more difficult to navigate during a pandemic, during a respiratory, airborne pandemic, to access some of the things that used to be a source of comfort and ability to de-stress, like a gaming space. I don't have access to that now, particularly because there is not a lot of discourse about air filtration, air cleaning, and making spaces safe for people like me with disability in particularly gaming spaces. As I've shared in other episodes, I got a lot of interesting perspectives about how folks felt out of place in some gaming spaces. I unfortunately have had to absent myself from most gaming spaces because I am fearful for my health. Often the gaming spaces that I have access to are rather airless affairs in industrial parks, and no one is wearing masks. So I simply cannot travel to any gaming store that I used to love because there's often a lack of safety. And so people with disabilities don't have access to these spaces right now. This is a quote that I got during the course of my PhD research that really means a lot to me, and I think about it often. This individual shared with me that they've been in board gaming a long time, and while there are times they won't say things because they don't want to draw attention to themselves, they absolutely refuse to leave the room. Sometimes that's the only activism we have. And that is something that I've thought a lot about. Sometimes it's a brave act just to stay in rooms where you're uncomfortable. But unfortunately for people like myself with disability, we have had to absent ourselves from many play and gaming stores and spaces because there is a lack of safety, a lack of air cleaning, a lack of mask adherence, and it just makes it impossible for us to stay in the room or even access that room. So I'm speaking from the heart this episode, sharing my personal experience as a person with disability in gaming. What do you think? I'd love to hear from you. And thanks so much for listening to this personal episode. This has been a very personal episode for June Safety Month. I'm Dr. Tanya Pobuda. This has been Schooled by Gru for Our Family Plays Games Voices. Thank you so much for listening.
Hola Tlacuaches, mi nombre es Daniel y bienvenidos a otro video aquí en Tlacuaches en la Mesa. Y obviamente un gran saludo a Our Family Plays Games. En los últimos videos, aquí en OFPG Voices, he hablado de juegos que son pequeños de relleno. En este video decidí darle la vuelta por completo a la moneda y vamos a estar hablando de un juego de campaña. Ese de aquí es Etherfields. Etherfields es un juego narrativo cooperativo que evoluciona. A lo que me refiero con esto es de que en este juego tú y los demás jugadores van a estar trabajando en equipo para poder completar cada una de estas misiones que están presentadas dentro de un número de sueños que son irrealistas, que son únicos y súper raros, que de verdad no tienen ningún sentido. El juego te va a presentar con estas cartas que son diferentes sueños, misiones en las que tú vas a poder jugar. Cada una de estas cartas te va a presentar con reglas que van a aplicar específicamente para esa misión que estás jugando. El juego se desenvuelve completamente en el mazo de cartas que le pertenece al personaje con el que estás jugando. En tu turno vas a jugar estas cartas. Estas cartas cuentan con diferentes funciones. Puedes usarlas por el efecto de la esencia que tiene aquí arriba para poder tomar acciones en el tablero, que son moverte, tener contacto con puntos de interés y hasta poder pelear con los monstruos que van a estar apareciendo. También puedes usar el efecto que está aquí abajo. También puedes pagar por muchas de estas cartas si tienen el efecto en la parte de arriba para que se puedan poner en tu tablero y así sean habilidades que puedas utilizar durante tu partida. Las cartas también tienen un efecto en la parte de atrás, las cuales tú puedes pagar para que este tome efecto. El escenario te va a presentar con un número de cartas de turno. Esto es básicamente el tiempo que tienes para poder completar esa misión. Tú pierdes en equipo cuando se acaban las cartas de turno o cuando tu personaje o cualquier personaje que está jugando recibe 8 daños. Automáticamente pasa eso, pierdes. Pero si tienes suerte y puedes completar la meta, la misión que tienes en ese escenario, automáticamente ganas. Como lo dije desde el principio, Etherfields es un juego narrativo. En este juego, los puntos de interés te van a mandar a este libro. Este libro está lleno de información, de historia, es básicamente un libro. El juego también te va a dar la oportunidad de que crezca tu mazo de cartas, dándote pues el camino para que tú puedas ir al mercado y añadir nuevas cartas. Si tú estás interesado y te llama la atención pues jugar una nueva campaña en la que haya bastantes reglas pero metiéndote tú a la temática y todo como que tenga sentido, lo vas a disfrutar muchísimo. Hasta ahorita he jugado Etherfields siendo como mi campaña principal y ya he jugado alrededor de 60 horas este juego. Y yo creo que no voy ni siquiera o estoy casi a la mitad de lo que es la campaña de Etherfields. La verdad es que lo he disfrutado mucho. He tenido un par de problemas por aquí y por allá con respecto a esto de las reglas, pero la verdad es que es un mundo diferente, es un juego bastante único y yo personalmente disfruto el cómo funcionan estas cartas. Espero que le den una oportunidad a Etherfields y nos estamos viendo en el siguiente video. Y ya.
All right, another great episode.
Yes, I definitely want to say thank you for a great, good human segment.
Aw.
That is so needed, especially during, Pride Month. That's definitely
And every
needed.
month. We
Yes.
just need to work one day at a time
Yes.
at being a little better.
Be good humans,
Be
like
good
you
humans
always
to
say.
everyone.
It's not hard.
Yeah, regardless.
It's not hard.
Be a good human.
It's not hard, people. It's not hard. But, I also want to say Emma Larkins has done it again.
Yes.
Starry Night Sky is
It
so,
is so
much
much
fun.
fun.
We really, really like that game.
Yeah.
Definitely. And Tanya Pobuda, she put it down.
Always.
She always, Dr.
Always.
Tanya Pobuda, she lays it down.
Yes.
Yes. And we need her more than ever now. Definitely do. And Daniel, there you go.
What can you say?
What can you say? He be doing his thing.
And
He be
he's
doing his
always
thing.
fun with his
Yes.
Legos in La Mesa.
Yes,
He's putting
and
those
so much
games on
energy.
the table.
Yeah, so much energy.
Always.
Love his energy. Yes, sir. Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
And we want to say thanks to our wonderful sponsors.
Yes.
Board&Dice.
Yes.
And the World Series of Board Gaming.
It's coming up September, y'all. Coming up. It's coming up.
So that's it.
That's it. Now, the family. We got some new merch out there. Starla, tell us about it.
Well, if you're looking for a shirt or a poster or a pillow with Our Family Plays Games
Yes.
on it, or either OFPG Voices
Yes.
or something from our Meeple line, check us out on Spring.
Now, family, we have our next episode June 21st, so don't miss it. Now, Starla, we're trying to get 30,000 subscribers, on this channel,
Yes.
trying to bring in more OFPG family.
Yes.
So where can they find us?
Well, if you're looking for Our Family Plays Games
Yes.
or OFPG Voices,
Yes.
you can find us on Facebook, Instagram,
Yes.
Twitter,
Yeah.
right here on YouTube,
Right here.
and on TikTok.
Hey! Now, family, thank you so much for coming out and watching all these beautiful voices. Support our sponsors now because we need them so we can keep this going. But thank you so much for coming through. Now, if you have any questions or comments, definitely put them down below. But there's one thing we want you to always know. We love you. Bye now.